All right, we'll come back now to Paris, where a fire in an apartment building left 8 people dead. 2 children were among the victims. Firefighters were called in a first time to extinguish a small fire that had broken out in the building in the northern district of Montmartre, but they raced back again 2 hours later for a second blaze that quickly spread through the building. Police are now looking into whether the fire in the Montmartre district of northern Paris was started intentionally. Here's more from the French Interior Minister, Bernard Cazeneuve.
Le bilan est très lourd, 8 morts, dont 2 enfants.
We're looking at a high death toll. 8 people have died, including 2 children. There were families living in a private building with an entry code, so a secure building, not a run-down one, not a decrepit building about to fall down, a private building which had visibly had recent work done. We're focusing on the possibility of a criminal act. Because there was a first alert during the night, fire services intervened, and then the fire caught again after the building had been secured. The building has now again been secured.
À partir de ce moment-là, on est intervenu, et puis l'immeuble a été sécurisé.
The Interior Minister there speaking about that fire in the Montmartre district of Paris. Our Luke Brown is at the scene of the fire at the moment, and he joins us from there. Luke, what's been happening there recently?
We've just seen the funeral services arrive to evacuate the bodies here at the scene of the fire. We're also seeing the police holding up a number of sheets and drapes, really, to prevent, to shield from view the evacuation from the building of the dead bodies. We know, of course, that 2 of the bodies were found outside, having jumped out of the building. 6 of the remaining bodies then were inside. The fire itself is now under control. That means the firefighters themselves have really handed over the scene to the criminal and the forensic investigators to take a look at the exact reasons behind the cause. The roads around the fire itself have been closed off. That means there's a rather eerie silence in what is usually a pretty bustling and busy area, and that really does match the gravity of the situation. Of course, 8 fatalities, 4 seriously injured. The firefighters, the fire brigade's spokesman indicating that they evacuated 7 people from the fire itself, so the death toll could have been even higher. Looking forwards now, the situation for those survivors as well as their families is, of course, pretty precarious. The local authorities say they are hoping to rehouse 15 households in the next 24 hours in the surrounding vicinity.
Luke, you mentioned the investigation. What more do we know about what or who may have started the fire?
Of course, the criminal investigation, given the high death toll, is one of the natural first steps to take place. But the authorities are really looking at this being a criminal intent behind this fire. The reason for that is, of course, 2 clear main reasons. That's the initial blaze that broke out a couple of hours before this more serious one. The fire brigade spokesman indicating that was just a few sheets of paper that caught fire. It was then extinguished by the fire brigade. More importantly, perhaps in the second fire, was that it broke out on the ground floor. That, according to the police sources that we've spoken to, indicate that it's 9 out of 10 times that is likely to be with criminal intent. The other thing that many people will be looking at is the quality of the housing around here. It is in a rundown area, and that's been in the past the cause of various deadly fires here in Paris. As far as we can tell, according to both neighbours and the sources that we've been speaking to, the quality of the building itself did not pose a problem on the level of a fire hazard. So I think that in itself is also likely to be pointing to the fact that this is not necessarily an accidental fire, but is perhaps, as the authorities are focusing their investigation on it being a criminal intent.
All right, Luke, thank you for that. Luke Brown reporting there from the Montmartre district of northern Paris, where that fire has left 8 people dead.